Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Ghostrunner. I played it on the Xbox Series X. It's also available on Steam, PS4, PS5, and the regular Xbox One. It's even available on the Nintendo Switch. So let's get into it, and honestly, I'm going to start with the story, and it's a little generic. You play as what is called a Ghostrunner. You were basically, once upon a time, a guard for the guy who created the super futuristic city that everything is taking place in. Unfortunately for him, his bestest buddy has betrayed him, and basically turned him into a computer program, and you're out on a quest for revenge for this guy, basically. But frankly, the story is, pretty generic. It's nothing we haven't seen before. They don't do anything new or really interesting with it. Honestly, I found the whole thing kind of boring. Let's get into the audio, and the voiceover work is bad. It's pretty impressively bad, actually. I know you're supposed to be robotic and he's supposed to be a computer program, but there was no life there. It was awful. And there's a rebel you get involved with, and okay, but, not adding much. Now, as for the music, it's very electronica. It fits very well with the whole cyberpunk aesthetic, but it's not something you're gonna remember this game for. As for the sound effects, I think they work well enough. I don't think they're terrible, but I also not gonna sit there and be like, that's an iconic sound. But overall, I think they work well. I think they fit with your weapons. I think they fit with the enemy weapons. I will say, though, one dialogue thing I forgot to mention. Oh my god, the enemy dialogue gets really old really fast. Hearing them say the same things over and over, there's like maybe 5 lines that they have, and every enemy says at least one of those 5 lines. It's oof. Let's get into the gameplay mechanics and whatnot, and this is basically Hotline Miami if it was an FPS and cyberpunk. Now, that being said, I'm going to go back to the dialogue really quickly, and one thing that I appreciated that they do, now that I've said that this is Hotline Miami style, is you don't have to hear your character and the Cyber Voices character's dialogue over and over and over and over and over since you're restarting regularly. If you die in the middle of one of their dialogues, they will basically pick up at the beginning of that line, and eventually you will get through the dialogue. It's nice like that. Now, that being said, as I compared it to Hotline Miami, basically each area you go into, you will die in one hit, you will fall off of things as you try and wall run and platform around, and then you will basically respawn almost immediately and get to try again. And I can see the appeal in that whole trying to perfect the pathway. I get it, but for me, I hate that kind of game. I've never enjoyed that. Hotline Miami was like punching myself in the dick. I just don't really enjoy those games. The whole one-shot, you're dead, restart, rinse and repeat over and over and over, it gets infuriating to me. I just don't enjoy it. That being said, I do think the mechanics that they put in work well. I do think it got a little boring with the whole all I had access to was a sword, and I really couldn't upgrade my character, which you're supposed to be able to do, but I couldn't because of a widespread glitch. Basically, you unlock a new ability, the game tells you to go into your upgrade menu, and you get stuck there because it refuses to let you select confirm. In my case, I had to hit the A button to confirm to close this little window, and it would not let me. So I don't know what other abilities I was ever going to really get access to. I don't really know, because eventually I just got so fed up with this game not working. And I say that because once you open the upgrade menu and you're stuck with this glitch, there's nothing I could do to unfuck it. I tried unplugging my controller and plugging it back in, which it needed me to hit A to confirm that my controller was plugged back in, and that worked, but I couldn't get this window to close. You can't exit the menu once this glitch has occurred. You literally have to go out to your home page, quit the entire game, and restart it if you want to continue playing. I uninstalled and reinstalled the game to see if that would unfuck the situation. It did not. I even tried beating the level to see if it would unfuck the situation. It did not. And the bullshit of this is, it's apparently a pretty widespread issue on the console versions, and it hasn't been fixed. It's been known about for months and has yet to be fixed. So if you're curious, did I beat this game? No, because it was already a game I don't enjoy playing, and then I have a glitch that just kind of fucked the entire game. I couldn't upgrade my character anymore, so I felt underpowered after a while, and to put it simply, I got tired of that. And I will say right now, I know people who love this style of game. I have friends who love Hotline Miami. I have friends who would love this game. But that being said, I don't, and to have this glitch that just kind of fucks things up and hasn't been fixed yet, A, that's lazy, go fuck yourself, devs. B, why would I continue to punish myself with something like this? So let's get into the controls, and I'm going to say, actually, I think the controls work fairly well. I'm never a fan of games that overly use the shoulder buttons just because I don't think it's the most comfortable, but it does make sense in this game so that you can keep your thumbs on both sticks and do the actions you need to. And I will say, I felt the controls were, for the most part, very responsive. I think it worked well for all the platforming, all the action. There were a few times, and I don't know if it's necessarily the controls, where I was definitely trying to make jumps, and the game was like, nah, you didn't jump the way you were facing. So I don't know if that was the game, like mechanically, or if it was the controls, not sure. Either way, there were times that happened, and it was frustrating, but I got over it, I got around it. Now let's get into the graphics and visuals, and I'm gonna say right away, I like the cyberpunk aesthetic, and I think the amount of detail in the game is really good. For the most part. I will say the enemies, they look very generic from what I could tell. This is a very fast-paced game, so I didn't really ever get a good chance to sit there and examine one of the enemies. Now that being said, like I said, a lot of cool detail. I like the cyberpunk aesthetic, and I mean, that's cool and futuristic, but I will say the world itself doesn't feel real. It feels lazy. And I say that because it's one of those things where every area you are in feels very clearly built for the wall running, for the combat, for the fast-paced action, for the flipping around, for the whipping around, all of that. And the reason I say that feels lazy is because the world doesn't feel real at any point in time. It doesn't feel like something you can immerse yourself in because it's so very, very clearly built around the mechanics of the game. And honestly, I can think of other games that do that, but I can ignore it more easily because I actually enjoyed the game, whereas this game I really didn't enjoy, and that glitch just fucked everything for me eventually, so it put me in a less forgiving mood. So to wrap this up, I'm gonna say, from what I understand, this game actually works very well on the PC, so if you're a PC gamer, you might want to check it out there, and you're a fan of Hotline Miami style games. But if you're not a fan of those games, like myself, and you're a console player, like myself predominantly, then stay the fuck away from this game. Okay, so in the comments down below, why don't you tell me, have you ever played a game where there's one platform that this game is just considerably better on? As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, and if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one. Basically,